Okay, can you introduce us yourself?
My name's Devon Larratt. I'm a Canadian. I'm 36 years old. I've been arm wrestling basically all my life. Currently ranked #1 in the world right hand. I started arm wrestling about when I was 4 or 5 years old. My grandmother used to come over to my house and bake apple pies, and I would arm wrestle her. She was an arm wrestler, and I thought that was great. And every chance I got, I would arm wrestle her until she'd, shoo me away. All through public school, kids in Canada, we arm wrestle on desks. It's kind of part of our culture. I was never the best, but I always really, really loved doing it. In high school, I started to get a little bit better. Still just doing it on desks and tables at lunchtime. After I was finished high school, I went and worked on the oil fields in Canada, out in Alberta. I met a guy called Devon Larratt, found out that arm wrestling was a real sport with tournaments, and right away I was just on it. I knew that I loved arm wrestling, and I pursued him, and he kind of guided me into the arm wrestling world. A whole new experience, opened up a whole new world to me. I thought I was really good, and I found out very quickly that there was a lot more to the sport than I initially thought. Really fell in love with it. Started around '94 in the professional circuit. Moved back to Ontario. Started arm wrestling in the Ontario circuit. By, I think it was '98. I'm not exactly sure. '98 or '99. I won my first nationals. And by 2001, I was basically professional arm wrestling, almost only for money at that point, and slowly moved my way into the one-on-one format, where I mostly arm wrestle now. And in 2008, I beat the current world champion, John Brzenk, and I've held it since that point. And here I am today in Turkey, having a great time.
And why arm wrestling?
Why arm wrestling?
And what does it mean to you?
Right. Arm wrestling, to me, I love it for so many reasons.
Could you do something, like a team game, or you like to do something?
I've done a lot of different sports in my life, but nothing really grabbed me the way.
Satisfies you like this?
No, arm wrestling really, really gripped me, and it's for a few reasons. I feel like it's a combat sport, which I love, but at the same time, two friends can arm wrestle each other and fight as hard as they can, and we can have all the ill intent we want towards each other on the table, but at the end of it, we can walk away and everything is fine. The worst thing that can happen, the worst possible thing that can happen, is a broken arm. And in a contact sport, I think that's a fairly good deal.
It happens very seldom, though.
Very seldom.
Yeah,
very seldom. But that's the worst thing that I think could happen, and that's never happened to me. And I feel like it's a sport where you can really completely put everything into it. You can really focus on it, and it's a fantastic feeling, and it's very satisfying. And it's a sport that you can do as you age. I can arm wrestle, I think, when I'm an old man.
Like
I think
60 years old?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I'll be able to arm wrestle my whole life, and I don't think that I will ever have to stop. So that appeals to me as well.
So you would continue even you can't be #1 anymore?
Absolutely. Arm wrestling, like anything, you go up and you go down, but I believe that there is always a capacity to enjoy the sport as you age.
Do you think that arm wrestling has enough of attention as it deserves in the world?
Well, I think.
Or is it like, do you think that it should be more popular than how it is right now? Does it deserve more than this?
I believe that arm wrestling is a sport that everybody has done. And that I think makes it deserve more credit. Everybody can arm wrestle. Everybody has arm wrestled. I think that with the right promotion, everybody can really enjoy arm wrestling matches. It just needs to find its way to the right hands, and I think that we're in the process of doing that with things like arm wars and PAL. I think that arm wrestling is growing right now as we speak. You know, the last 10 years I think have been very good for arm wrestling.
So do you think that it should receive the recognition of the Olympic Committee?
Absolutely, absolutely. Arm wrestling is a fantastic sport.
Do you have any goal to become an Olympic champion someday?
If this sport made it to the Olympics, my life would change. I would love if this became an Olympic sport.
Do you think that, like 15 years from now, I mean, it's this Olympic sport, for example, do you think that, you will be about 50 years old? Do you think that you can still win at that age?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Good. From outside, arm wrestling looks like a sport of strength only. Does it also require aspects like intelligence, passion,
Arm wrestling is a sport.
strategy,
Arm wrestling is a sport where you can use all sorts of different physical and mental abilities to win a match. Champions come in all shapes and sizes. There's many schools of thought in arm wrestling, all of which have value. The way I look at arm wrestling is people think of it as a power sport and a fight sport, somewhere in the middle. I think it's more of a fight sport, but I think that that's more of a Western philosophy, just my opinion. I think that it's a combat sport. Arm wrestling is a miniature martial art, complete with counters and different attacks, and it's definitely not a one-way thing. There's many. The hand is so complex.
Martial art without violence?
Oh, there's violence.
There is?
Oh, of course there's violence, but it's locked into just this area, But it's violent, absolutely. But it's all coming through just the hand, But if you look at how complicated a hand is, you can do so many things with it, right? It's definitely not simple. I know Turkish arm wrestlers. I know my good friend Engin Terzi. I met Engin when he came to Canada. I believe the first time I met him was in 2001 when he came to the Niagara tournament. Engin is pretty much world renowned as being an encyclopedia of arm wrestling. Really a guy who has a lot of knowledge and has competed at a high level internationally for many, many years. By far, Engin Terzi has been, in my opinion, internationally the Turkish light.